There are moments in life that split time into two halves. There is who you were before and who you become after. For me, that moment wasn't when I caught her. It wasn't when she confessed. It was 2 months later, standing in my kitchen at 3 a.m., staring at a phone that told me everything I thought I knew was a lie. She confessed to a mistake. She begged me to stay. And I, like a fool who believed in love, said yes. But here's what I learned. Sometimes the confession isn't the end of the lies. Sometimes it's just the beginning of smarter ones. The affair never stopped. It just got better at hiding. And the betrayal I felt the first time, it multiplied exponentially. Because this time, it wasn't just about another man. This time, it was about the performance, the tears, the intimacy. The way she looked me in the eye and said, "I love you," while building a second life behind my back. If you've ever wondered how much worse it can get, stay with me, because I'm about to show you. To understand the depth of the wound, you have to understand the height from which I fell. Let's call her Mia. We met 4 years ago at a mutual friend's wedding. She was wearing a dark green dress, standing by the bar, laughing at something I couldn't hear. I remember thinking, that is the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. I walked over. I'm not usually the guy who approaches strangers, but something pulled me. We talked for 3 hours straight. By the end of the night, I wasn't just attracted to her, I was captivated. 6 months later, we moved in together. 2 years after that, I bought a ring. I still have it, actually, sitting in a drawer. I can't bring myself to throw it away, and I can't look at it. It's just there, a relic of a future that never happened. We built a life that looked perfect from the outside. We had the kind of relationship people write songs about. We finished each other's sentences. We had inside jokes that made us laugh until we couldn't breathe. We talked about children names we liked, how we'd raised them, where we'd send them to school. I was so sure, so completely, arrogantly sure that I had found my person, that I was safe, that the hard part of life, the searching, the loneliness, the uncertainty was over. I didn't know that the hard part was just getting started. I didn't know that the person sleeping next to me every night was already halfway out the door. I didn't know because I wasn't looking. And that's the thing about trust. It doesn't just make you blind, it makes you voluntarily blind. You stop looking because you think you've already found. Looking back now, the signs were there, they always are. But they were written in a language I didn't want to translate. It started small. She started working late, once a week, then twice. She said it was a big project, a promotion track. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was ambitious. That was one of the things I loved about her. Then her phone habits changed. She used to leave it anywhere. On the couch, on the kitchen counter, charging in the bedroom while she showered. Suddenly, it was always with her. If she got up to use the bathroom, the phone went with her. If she went to the kitchen for water, the phone went with her. It became an extension of her hand. I noticed. Of course, I noticed. But I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself that true love doesn't spy, that trust means not looking. Then there was the distance, emotional distance. She was there, but she wasn't there. We'd be watching a movie, and I'd look over, and she'd be staring at the wall, somewhere else entirely. I'd ask, "You okay?" And she'd snap back, "Yeah, just tired, long day." I started trying harder. I planned date nights. I bought flowers for no reason. I tried to reignite whatever I thought was fading, and she appreciated it. She did. She'd hug me tighter, thank me more profusely than usual. Looking back, I realized that appreciation wasn't love. It was guilt. She wasn't grateful for the flowers. She was grateful that I wasn't asking the right questions. Then came the night that shattered the glass. I had been traveling for work, a 3-day conference. I came back a day early. I didn't tell her. I wanted to surprise her. I wanted to walk in, see her face light up, and spend the evening ordering takeout and falling asleep on the couch like we used to. I got to the apartment around 9 p.m. The lights were off in the living room, but there was a glow coming from the bedroom. I smiled. She was probably reading or watching something on her laptop. I imagined her surprise. I imagined the hug. I opened the door. She was there, fully dressed, sitting on the edge of the bed. The window was open. We lived on the 4th floor. We never opened that window. The room felt thick, charged, wrong. She looked up at me, and her face wasn't surprise. It was terror, pure animal terror. The kind of look you'd give someone if they caught you in the middle of something unspeakable. I didn't see anyone else. The room was empty, but I knew. I don't know how I knew, but I knew. I stood there, frozen, holding my suitcase, and I said the only thing I could think of. Who was here? She didn't deny it. She didn't ask what I was talking about. She just broke. Tears exploded from her eyes. Her body crumpled. She slid off the bed onto the floor, sobbing, gasping for air. And through the crying, she started talking. She told me about a guy from work. Let's call him David. She said it had happened 3 times. Just a physical thing. Nothing emotional. A mistake. A terrible, horrible mistake. She said she was sick over it. That she hated herself. That she would do anything to make it right. I stood there, listening to the woman I loved confess to the worst betrayal, and I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Just numbness. A complete disconnection from my own body. Then she said the words that broke the numbness. Please don't leave me. I will die without you. Please. And I looked at her, this woman who had been my entire world destroyed, on the floor, begging, and something in me broke open. Not anger, compassion. I walked over, sat down next to her, and held her while she cried. I became her comforter, her rock, even though she had just driven a knife through my chest. That's the cruel irony of betrayal. The victim often ends up consoling the perpetrator. I know what you're thinking. You're watching this, and you're screaming at the screen. Leave, run, have some self-respect, and I get it. I really do. 3 years ago, I would have watched this video and thought the same thing. I would have judged the man who stayed. I would have called him weak. But here's the thing about judgment from the outside. It's easy, it's clean, it's theoretical. When you're inside the moment, it's messy, it's complicated. You don't see a cheater. You see the person who held you when your father died. You see the person who made you laugh until you cried. You see the person you planned a future with. And you think, if I leave, I lose all of it. If I stay, maybe we can save it. So I stayed. I told her, we can get through this. We can be stronger. I meant it. I believed it. I thought the confession was the worst part. I thought the hard part was over. I thought she had given me the gift of honesty, and now we could rebuild. The next few weeks were intense. We had the talks, the 3 a.m. talks, the crying talks, the tell me everything talks. She answered every question. She gave me passwords. She let me track her location. She quit her job voluntarily. I didn't even ask. She went to therapy. She did all the things the reconciliation experts tell you to do. And slowly, painfully, I started to heal. I started to trust again. I stopped checking the phone. I stopped asking where she was. I started falling back in love with the woman I thought I knew. I actually thanked her. One night, lying in bed, I told her, "Thank you for telling me the truth. It must have been so hard, but it saved us." I thanked her for lying to me. I just didn't know it yet. The next 2 months were good. Scarily good. Better than we had been in years. She was present. She was affectionate. She initiated intimacy. She planned surprises. She was, on paper, the perfect partner. We went on weekend trips. We cooked together. We talked about the future again. The dark cloud of the affair seemed to lift. I started to believe that we were one of the rare couples who actually make it through. That our love was strong enough to survive anything. But there were moments. Tiny moments. Fleeting. Like shadows in the corner of your eye that disappear when you turn to look. She was still protective of her phone. Not hiding it, exactly, but never without it. If she went to the bathroom, the phone went with her. If she went to get water, the phone went with her. I told myself it was a habit. Everyone's addicted to their phone, right? She also had this energy, this buzz. She was happy. Too happy. The kind of happiness that feels slightly manic, slightly performative. Like someone trying to convince you and themselves that everything is fine. I ignored it. I told myself I was being paranoid, that the trauma of the betrayal was making me see ghosts, that true healing meant letting go of suspicion. I was wrong. I wasn't being paranoid. I was being played. It was a Tuesday night, nothing special. We had watched a movie. She fell asleep on the couch. The TV was still on, some late night show. Her phone was on the coffee table, face up. Then it buzzed. Then it buzzed again. Then a third time. I looked at her, dead asleep, mouth slightly open, breathing slow. I looked at the phone, just sitting there. An invitation. I know what you're going to say. You shouldn't have looked. You violated her privacy. And maybe you're right. Maybe I should have trusted her. Maybe I should have woken her up and asked who was texting. But here's the thing about trust after betrayal. It's not a switch you flip back on. It's a fragile plant that needs constant sunlight. And when you've been burned, you check for fire constantly. It's not paranoia. It's survival. I picked up the phone. I knew her passcode. She had given it to me during the transparency phase. I unlocked it. I went to her messages. Nothing from him. Nothing from anyone suspicious. Just normal conversations with friends, family, co-workers. I went to her call log. Nothing. I went to her email. Nothing. It was clean. Too clean. Spotless. Sterile. And that's when I knew. That's when the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Because nobody's phone is that clean. Everyone has weird group chats, old threads, random numbers. Hers was like a freshly wiped hard drive. She wasn't hiding the affair. She was hiding how she was hiding it. I started digging. I went to her App Store downloads, deleted apps, and there it was. An app I'd never seen before. A calculator app. But she didn't use calculators. She had me for math. I downloaded it, opened it. It looked like a normal calculator. I pressed a few buttons. Nothing. Then I remembered something I'd read online. Some hidden apps require a secret code. I tried her birthday. Nothing. I tried his birthday. Nothing. I tried a date I didn't recognize. Then, on a whim, I held down the equals sign. The screen changed. A chat interface appeared. And there they were. Months of messages. Hundreds of them. Starting from the day she confessed to me. The affair never stopped. It just got smarter.
I sat there on the couch, her sleeping 3 feet away, and I read everything. I read about their meets, the coffee shops, the hotels, the afternoons when she was at the gym or running errands. I read about how she laughed with him, how she told him she missed him, how she said "I love you" to him at night, right after saying it to me. I read about how she managed us, how she kept the plates spinning, how she told him that I was suspicious, so they needed to be more careful, how she installed the hidden app specifically because I had started checking her phone. I read about how she felt guilty, not guilty enough to stop, but guilty enough to complain about it, to seek his comfort about how hard it was to lie to me. I read about the future they planned, the trips they wanted to take, the life they imagined, a life that ran parallel to the one she was building with me. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, I read about how she felt when she was with me. She told him that being with me felt like wearing an old comfortable sweater, safe, warm, boring, but being with him felt like fire, like electricity, like living. I wasn't her lover, I was her security blanket, her backup plan, her insurance policy against loneliness. She stayed with me because I was safe. She stayed with him because he was exciting, and she was willing to destroy my soul to keep both. I sat there for 2 hours reading, absorbing, dissolving, and when I finally looked up, she was awake, staring at me, the phone in my hands, the app on the screen. She knew. She didn't say anything. She just looked at me with this empty, hollow expression, like a deer in headlights that knows the truck is coming. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just said, "How long?" She didn't answer. She didn't need to. I already knew. The conversation that followed was the strangest of my life. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't even an argument. It was an autopsy, a dissection of a relationship that had been dead for months without me knowing it. She tried to explain. She said she didn't mean for it to happen. She said she loved me. She really did. She said he made her feel alive, but I made her feel safe. She said she was confused. She said she was broken. She said all the things people say when they get caught. But I wasn't listening anymore. I was watching. I was observing. And for the first time, I saw her clearly. Not as the love of my life, not as my future wife, but as a person. A flawed, selfish, deeply broken person who had made a choice, hundreds of choices to hurt me every single day for months. I asked her one question, the only question that mattered. When you begged me to stay, when you cried on the floor, when you said you'd die without me, were you telling the truth? She hesitated. Just a second, but I saw it. That micro moment of calculation, the liar's pause, and then she said, "Yes, I meant it. I do love you," but I knew. In that hesitation, I knew. The tears, the begging, the confession, it wasn't love. It was damage control. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of losing the life I represented, the stability, the comfort, the safety net. She didn't want me. She wanted what I gave her. I stood up. I walked to the bedroom. I pulled out a bag and I started packing. She followed me, crying, grabbing my arm, begging, please, please don't go. We can fix this. I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll block him forever. Please. I stopped packing. I looked at her and I said something I never thought I'd say. You already had your chance. You already did therapy. You already blocked him or pretended to. You already begged. And while you were begging, you were texting him. You don't get another chance. You don't get to beg twice. I left that night. I drove to a hotel. I sat on the bed, staring at the wall, and I didn't sleep. I didn't cry. I just sat there, empty, hollowed out, like someone had reached inside me and scooped out everything that mattered. The weeks that followed were a blur. I went through the motions. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. I told a few close friends. I didn't post about it on social media. I didn't blast her name. I just existed in a fog. She tried to reach out. Texts, emails, calls from blocked numbers. She sent long messages about how sorry she was, how she was getting help, how she hoped one day I could forgive her. I never responded, not because I was angry, but because I had nothing left to say. She had taken everything. My trust, my love, my belief in the future. There was nothing left for her to take, and nothing left for me to give. But here's what I learned in the silence. Here's what emerged from the wreckage. The first betrayal, the affair, was devastating. It was a punch to the gut. It made me question everything. But the second betrayal, the cover-up, the performance, the calculated manipulation, that was the real killer. That's what changed me. Because the affair could have been a mistake. A terrible, selfish, hurtful mistake. But the cover-up wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Hundreds of choices. Every time she looked me in the eye and lied, every time she held me and thought of him, every time she let me comfort her for a pain she was still causing, those weren't accidents. Those were decisions. And that's the betrayal within the betrayal. It's not just that they hurt you. It's that they make you an accomplice to your own destruction. They make you love them while they're stabbing you. They make you thank them for the knife. I spent a long time asking myself, how could I not see it? How could I be so blind? How could I trust someone who had already proven untrustworthy? But I've stopped asking those questions because the answer isn't about my blindness, it's about their performance. I didn't miss the signs because I was stupid. I missed them because I was loving, because I wanted to believe, because I thought love meant giving someone the benefit of the doubt. And maybe that's not weakness. Maybe that's just being human. It's been a year now, a year since I walked out. A year since I read those messages. A year since my life split into before and after. I'm different now. Not harder, exactly. Just more awake. I see things I didn't see before. I notice the small inconsistencies, the micro expects, the stories that don't quite add up. Not because I'm looking for betrayal, but because I'll never be voluntarily blind again. I still think about her sometimes, not with longing, with curiosity. I wonder if she thinks about me. I wonder if she feels guilt or just regret at getting caught. I wonder if she's with him now or if she's moved on to someone else. I wonder if she'll do it again, to him, to someone else, forever. But mostly, I wonder if she knows what she destroyed. Not just a relationship, not just my trust, but my innocence, my belief that love is safe, my ability to give myself completely to another person without holding back a piece for protection. That's the real casualty of betrayal, not the relationship, not the trust, the innocence. The beautiful, naive belief that when someone says, "I love you," they mean it the same way you do. I'll get it back, eventually, or some version of it. I'll learn to love again. I'll learn to trust again. But I'll never be the person I was before. That person died on a Tuesday night on a couch reading messages that should never have been written. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that person needed to die. Maybe the person who emerges from this, the person who sees clearly, who trusts cautiously, who loves with open eyes is stronger, wiser, more real. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. If you're watching this and you're in the middle of it, if you just found out, or if you're trying to rebuild, or if you're questioning your own sanity, want to tell you something. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not asking for too much. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Your gut isn't the enemy. Your fear of being alone is. Trust the patterns, not the apologies. Watch what they do, not what they say. Because words are cheap, tears are cheaper, but actions are the truth. And if you're the one who stayed, only to find out the lies continued, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I know that pain. I know how it feels to have your forgiveness weaponized against you. I know how it feels to realize that your love was just a convenience for someone else's chaos. But here's what I need you to hear. Their betrayal is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their emptiness. You can give someone everything, and they will still choose destruction if destruction is who they are. That's not your fault. That's not your failure. That's their pathology. You deserved better. You deserved honesty. You deserved someone who chooses you every day, not just when it's convenient. And you will find that, or it will find you. But first, you have to walk away. You have to choose yourself. You have to stop setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. I walked away. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it was also the first time I chose myself. And that choice saved my life. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it's heavy. I know it's raw, but I shared it because I know there are others out there going through the same thing. And I want you to know you're not alone. If this resonated with you, leave a comment. Share your story. Let's talk about the hard stuff. Let's stop pretending betrayal doesn't shatter us. Let's be real about the pain and real about the healing. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We talk about relationships. We talk about heartbreak. We talk about rebuilding. We talk about the things that actually matter. Take care of yourselves. Be gentle with your healing. And remember, staying is not always winning. Sometimes walking away is the only victory left. I'll see you in the next one.